So after you do this interview, you kind of continue this investigation for a couple years, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And again, we're going to get into the rest of the details of that investigation at a later point in time. I want to focus right now on August 16th of 2024. What happened on that day?
On August 16th of 24, I executed a search warrant to look for anhydrous ammonia tanks at a property on Paragon Road.
Okay. Were there two properties that were searched for anhydrous tanks?
Yes, there was also property searched on Carson, just north of Munger, kitty corner from the Munger property.
Okay. I'm going to show you a handful of exhibits, sir. First, Exhibit 90. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
Okay, where's that location?
That is at the barn I searched on Paragon Road.
Okay, and was this photograph taken August 16th, 24?
Yes.
Exhibit 91. What's this?
This is at the same location. This photo was also taken on that date.
Okay. 92.
The same thing, ma'am, on Paragon Road, also taken on that date.
Okay. 93.
This is outside of that barn, the same location, also taken on that date.
Exhibit 94.
The same, ma'am.
Exhibit 95.
The same.
Same date and location?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Exhibit 96.
Same date and location, ma'am.
Okay. Exhibit 97.
Same date and location, just outside of the barn.
Okay. Exhibit 98.
Same date and location inside of that barn.
Exhibit 99.
Same date and location on the outside of the barn.
Okay. Exhibit 100. Okay. What's this?
This is inside of a separate portion of the barn, taken on that same date at that same location on Paragon Road.
Did you make observations on this tank?
Yes, initially it stood out because all of the other tanks were outside and or in the open portion of the barns by one another. However, this tank was by itself in this area.
Okay. Did you make any other observations?
Yes. On the in this image, what would be the back or the left-hand side of the tank, there was a non-factory weld visible from the outside.
Okay. Exhibit 105, I'm going to have you look at that. Is that one of the welds you were just discussing?
Yes, this is this is that back end of the tank. Obviously, this is the top of the picture is the top end of the tank.
All right. Exhibit 73. Is this another portion of the weld that you observed?
Yes, so this would be the bottom of the tank, and or if you're going from top to bottom, a continuation going downward from the previous photo.
Okay. I'm going to show you Exhibit 101. What's this?
This was a handwritten note that was wire tied to the valve on top of the tank.
Okay. When you say the tank, are you referring to tank 34 that was in Exhibit 100 that you just detailed?
The previous photos, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I'm going to hand you Exhibit 102. You still have the scissors?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know that we need it open until the jury wants to see it. Okay, what is Exhibit 102?
This is that tag that's pictured in this image.
Okay, is there writing on both sides of that tag?
Yes.
Okay. Exhibit 103. What's this?
This is the same tag as the previous image, just depicting the writing on the other side of it.
All right. Exhibit 104.
This is just an overview of that portion of the tank. You can see that tag on the right-hand side.
Okay. And again, all of these photographs were taken on August 16th, 2024?
Yes.
Okay. After you made those observations, what did you do with that tank?
I contacted a tow truck company, and I escorted it to the Ambassador Bridge for an x-ray.
I'm going to have you look at Exhibit 106. And is that the image you received from the Ambassador Bridge?
That's correct.
Again, this was on that same date that you observed the other tanks, 8/16/2024?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Based on this x-ray, what did you do next?
I escorted the tank to the Michigan State Police Crime Lab in Northville for some preliminary evidence collection. From there, it was escorted to the Monroe Post for secured storage until we could make arrangements to open it the next day.
Okay. And did you in fact open it the next day?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to have you look at Exhibit 107. What's that?
That is that same, actually, that is the opposite end of the tank that I observed the non-factory weld on. We cut basically a window into the tank so we could take some images and gather some an idea of what was inside of it before we continued cutting it open.
Okay. And this was on August 17th, 2024?
Yes.
All right. What did you observe when you placed that camera inside there?
With the light that I'm holding, you can see inside of the tank that there was something wrapped inside of a blue tarp.
Okay. I'm going to show you Exhibit 108. Is that what you observed in there?
Yes, ma'am.
Once you made that observation, what did you do?
Once we gathered some videos and photos of it, we then continued opening the tank, essentially almost like a cigar cut, removing that end that we made that pilot hole on.
Okay. And then what?
Once it was open, we were able to remove the object that was wrapped inside of the blue tarp.
Okay. And what was the object inside the tarp?
It was human remains.
What did you do with the human remains?
The remains were escorted to the medical examiner's office to have an autopsy performed.
Do you know if there were any chemicals inside that tank?
Yes.
All right. Describe to me if you can estimate an amount of chemicals in there.
Laying along the bottom of the tank, there may have been a half inch to an inch of what smelled like ammonia.
What about the tank? What was done with the tank?
From there, the tank was escorted to more long-term storage until it could be evaluated at another date.
Okay. Was that tank processed?
Yes.
All right. Was it processed on the 17th or a different day?
It was processed by lab personnel on the 16th and 17th.
Okay.